Good evening and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I am Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and this is the third episode of our short campaign of Don't Rest Your Head, a horror urban fantasy game by Fred Hicks about insomniacs navigating the mad city where the nightmares live. Let us go around and once again introduce everybody. I always do the intros in the same order, and I'm just going to keep doing that because that's less work for my brain to do. Let us start with Anino. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Anino. I am playing Jomaru Wonder. He, him pronouns. He is a former conceptual artist for a video game studio known as Tempest Entertainment.
Excellent. The Tempest is coming. No, wait. No, that was a while ago. Alyssa, hello.
Hello. My name is Alyssa. I use she, her pronouns, as does my character, Lila Leor Mendelson, who is a customer service representative by day and a struggling musician by night. And we finally got the band back together. Things have got to get better from here, right? Right?
I'm quite sure that's got to be the case. What could possibly go wrong at this point? What could? Rock, hello.
Hey, I'm Rock. Use he, him pronouns, as does my character Justin Lint, who is a struggling artist currently under investigation after a model for one of his art projects was horribly wounded.
Yes. You need to... Perhaps we'll find out more about what happened there at some point. That'll be interesting. Hi, Lauren.
Hey. I don't trust you.
Let's go.
I'm Lauren. I'm that salty ginger over on Twitter. I use she, her pronouns, as does my character, Nancy Knight, who is a grad student looking for her missing sister, who's like here, apparently. So fun. So fun.
Yes. Sometimes people disappear. The Mad City is where they end up. It's hard to say. It's where a lot of people disappear to, in fact. But before we dive into the Mad City itself, as a reminder, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it, or when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then the rest of us can respond to that with an X, an N, or an O, again, to let us know that we're still doing okay, or if we're still doing okay. And we can then correct as needed. So, before we officially begin, I just want to make note of one thing, or I want to make mention of one thing in particular, and that is that the party now has a coin of hope. Now, in the normal, if you're playing a longer campaign, then actually hope and despair would go away at the end of each session. But since this is a more contained thing that we're doing, just a strict 4-episode thing, I'm going ahead and letting it carry from episode to episode, in both cases. So now that they've got hope, there are things that a couple things you can do with coins of hope. One of those things, let me see if I can actually pull up the appropriate page, basically lets you get a break. You can use it to reduce your exhaustion by 1 or remove a check mark from a fight or flight response. So it's just like if you rolled discipline in that sense, but it's it's a communal thing. So if you can say, "May I use that coin?" and then that'll use that coin up. So it's basically you get a break. You get a moment where you can sort of take a second wind, as it were, or it could be it could be a lengthier downtime. So we sort of figure that out at that point. You can also actually use coins of despair to restore lost discipline. Coin of despair. You can use a coin of hope to restore lost discipline. That's where no one's actually gone down on discipline yet. But when you start getting to the point you start getting permanent madness, that reduces your discipline. So it's only when you get to discipline of 0 that you snap and become a nightmare. You get you have the coins of hope there, so that if you use that, and you've had some time to get at least a bit of calm reflection, you can spend that coin, and the thing is that there's a cost, and actually that does cost multiple hope coins. The cost in hope is equal to 5 minus your current discipline level, basically. And that removes 1 permanent madness die and replaces it with 1 die of discipline. So let's say if you're down to 2 discipline, that means that you'll have 1 permanent madness die. And so it would cost a total of 3 hope coins to make that exchange and bring it back up to 0 madness and 3 discipline. So that's basically how that works. It also helps you improve success. You can spend 1 or more hope coins before after a roll, but before the results are narrated. It adds a 1 to your discipline pool, increasing the number of successes by 1 every time you add 1 coin of hope. And you can do that with multiple coins if you want. You're not limited to just 1 hope coin. But right now you only have 1 hope coin. But those are the basic things you can do with it. Those are things you have available should you desire to avail yourselves of them. All right. So we are at this point once again in the Mad City. We are actually at the Arts District. It has quite recently. You heard 9 bells. For all of you, that kind of makes sense, but that's because for 2 of you, it was getting close to 9 in the morning, and for the other 2, it was getting close to 9 at night. Whether that actually comes out or it becomes important or not, we'll see. But that's just a little thing I thought I would mention. But you found yourselves there. You're there in the Arts District. You're sort of on the sort of western edge of the Arts District, as it were, as it sort of circles around. You have a map now that you're following to try to make your way to the medical district in search of Nancy's sister Alice, and you have recently Dustin and Jamaro have been running from Clockwork Cops. Nancy and Lila have been attempting to escape these beings that we know are called pinheads, but which their name has not yet been spoken out loud. Trench-coated, sort of folks that look like they're dressed kind of like really run-down 1950s, 60s, 70s news reporters, basically, except no heads. There's a pin, big thing of metal pin where their heads should be, and the hats on it. But something, of course, that did just happen, speaking of Alice, is that this billboard came on, and upon it, it is an ad for a drug, which for some reason they decided to name Awakeness, which, not everyone's a winner, but there it is. The drug is called Awakeness, and Alice is pictured in the ad, is referred to in the ad as Dr. Knight. It is the proper spelling. It's not. They didn't take the K off. and she's there in a lab coat, holding a clipboard and smiling in a professional, comforting manner. And the question is that's posed on the billboard is, have you taken your awareness, your awakeness? That's what I get for making up words. Have you taken your awakeness? And this is the sight you have just beheld. As you are standing here in the cobblestone street amongst the artists, and also kind of strange cars that wobble by from time to time, very slowly because it's cobblestone. But cars from all manner of different eras are here. What y'all doing?
Oh, Nancy, I didn't know your sister was a doctor. Does that mean she's your parents' favorite?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
But she's also not a doctor. She's a student.
well, I suppose they won't be so proud of false advertising.
Okay. Yeah, this is weird. We've established we were not at a party, right? We're not all experiencing a group high right now.
Pretty sure we're not.
Okay.
If only.
Yeah, it's definitely not been a party.
Maybe it's a shared lucid dream somehow.
We can roll with that, I guess.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go find her. Yep, I'm gonna. Yeah, if this is a dream, I can just drag her on home. That's great. That's good. I'm gonna do that. And she continues along the path that we were going.
Okay. So Nancy is continuing counterclockwise through the around the city, heading down the street of the Arts District. What are the rest of you doing?
Oh, Jamaro's going to follow, his sequin robe fluttering in his wake as he continues on. He hasn't bothered to change his clothes or lack thereof.
That's the interesting thing, by the way, Lila and Nancy, is that when you see Jamaro and Dustin, neither of them are dressed anywhere close to the way they normally dress. Jamaro is wearing this wrestling outfit, and Dustin is wearing a tweed suit.
It's just adding to my theory.
I didn't know they were so into cosplay.
I mean, you never know these days.
I thought Comic-Con was a couple weeks ago.
Hey, don't knock the creative process.
I'm not.
Can you even move your arms to sculpt in that, though?
Well, I mean, it's a little constricting, but, you know, I just... Whatever. Don't question it.
You got it.
I mean, some people just have power suits. I have power leotards and sequin robes.
It's just a different kind of suit.
Yep.
Hey, pants, coat, it's a suit.
Yep.
You're going to
Is there anything around us? Is anybody taking notice of this really odd group of people?
Not really so much. There are people. They don't seem to particularly care one way or the other. You have a few, like I said, they're down here. You have a few living statues. You have some folks who are drawing on the sidewalk. Amongst the people, there are things that are like people. You have someone. At first, you're getting close to an intersection, and you see what looks like a big stop sign, but then it turns out that it moves and it starts walking, and it is it is someone who is made of stop signs. It is a bit of an oddity. There's a place that looks like a little sort of bread kiosk, that where the baker also appears to be made of bread. There are a few. You keep seeing a few people that are also sort of animal-like. You see there is apparently there's this there's a circle of people that look kind of like kangaroos that are all sort of they're sitting in rocking chairs knitting, and there's this sign and there's a little bucket down below for donations, and it says performance knitting. That's also happening as you're passing by these various different artists here. There's generally there's not a lot of vehicle traffic here because there are so many artists all over the place. The place is lousy with artists, but there are a few as you're doing this. And unless you decide to stop anywhere, you're going to make it after a bit of time. It takes you a little while to navigate. You're on one of the you're on one of the main arteries out here, so it's not going to take humongously long, save for all the things and people and booths in your way. The traffic flow here does not look great. There is a point where, as you are sort of coming up to an intersection, that you see there's a major intersection coming, where you see that the vehicles are moving a little more quickly. Perhaps the road is slightly more paved at the intersecting road. You do notice in the middle of the thing there is a traffic cop. Who you all will see this at a great distance. There's a traffic cop, someone who looks like a cop from like the 50s in blue, wearing the helmet. And you see just sort of very mechanically, and he turns and he's got a key out, sticking out of his back as he's directing traffic. But it's you can't really you haven't gotten close enough to hear the ticking yet, but you are. You note that is at the intersection. There is, and again, it's a fairly wide intersection, but it's there's this concrete sort of median that he's standing on in the middle to kind of help direct traffic. As there are no traffic lights.
I think as soon as Dustin sees the cop, he's going to kind of, start doing the looking away, kind of, just down at the ground and away, and kind of mention, hey, maybe we should go around this.
That's gonna take longer, Dustin.
Yeah, but if Yumaru and I get arrested, that's gonna take longer too.
Nancy's been kind of like rubbing her temples as y'all have walked, and I think with a big eye roll, I want to try and use my madness talent.
Ah, excellent. Here we go.
How do, Jim? How do?
So, do you have do you actually need to drink coffee for this to go into effect, or do you just do it?
No, I think I just do it.
Okay. So the way this works is so I'm going to set a pain rating here, and this is not just the cop, but also the traffic.
Yeah.
Is basically dealing with that, and then the possibility that there are other cops in the area as you're getting ready to cross into the street that runs between the medical district and the re-education district.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more. Somewhat, you're getting the sense that moving out of this part of the city is going to start getting a little more dangerous. Yeah. So I'm going to set a pain of 4 for this. As you're sort of looking around, you do see that there are that there are like a couple more cops that are kind of over by. There's a kiosk at the far corner of the start of the re-education district, where they apparently are selling donuts of some kind, and there are policemen there. So I'm going to set a pain of 4 here for the overall thing. So I'll go ahead and roll that. And you will have to... So I'm kind of wondering... So how... you just want to basically... well, actually, let me know what you would like to do with the Madness Tell. I'll tell you how many Madness dice you'll need to roll for that.
I want to... I don't need to stop everything, although that would be cool. But if I could like get it kind of more in slow motion, where we would be able to like slip through and like where that cop's not looking, ideally, like behind him. That's mostly what I want to do, and so we don't get hit by cars.
Excellent. So, and that actually was going to be my next question. Do you want to just slow down? Do you want to wait until you're crossing with the traffic, or do you want to slow it down enough for you to cross against the traffic?
Against, because it looks cooler.
Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to call that... I think I'm gonna call that some of them are moving fairly quickly, so I'll call that you'll need 3 Madness dice for that.
Okay.
To get all of those effects in, and so I'm gonna roll the 4 pain. So you'll see what you're up against here. Here we go. Okay. I got 2 successes, so you need two or more successes. So you're gonna roll your discipline dice. By the way, I have changed the exhaustion macro, so you no longer have to... It just asks you how many you have, just like with Madness, the Madness macro. So you no longer will have to go in and change it manually.
Gotcha.
I realized after a while that, that would be, in fact, easier, the way exhaustion's been going up and down.
Gotcha.
So yeah, discipline now is the only thing that has to be changed manually if you need to.
Cool. Okay, so I'll roll that first.
So you're gonna roll your discipline, any exhaustion
2.
you have right now. And...
I don't have any exhaustion.
All right. Well,
And
you can if you want. You can. Do you want an exhaustion to add to your roll? Okay. So just discipline and madness. All right.
So many.
Excellent.
But doesn't that mean pain's dominating?
It does mean pain is dominating, but you're going to be successful. So
good.
You're going to, as you are, you're crossing traffic here. You kind of realize that. So you all step to the. You start getting closer to the intersection. And Nancy, could you describe what you're doing? So, what does everyone see you doing here?
Probably, I think Nancy looks like she's slowing down for a second, which is odd. It kind of like her body moves in slow motion for a moment. She looks really, really focused, but there's not a lot of outward show to it. Until it kind of like, it's not even that you see like something come off of her, but there's like a wave that comes out and kind of spreads from her, and then everything else starts to slow down.
Yeah, so you all are seeing this, and I presume that you're so this seems to affect everything outside of the 4 of you. And you see the traffic just starting to like sort of slow down, and you see the cop's motion still jerky as he's directing the traffic, but he's now just doing it kind of in slow motion. And everyone on the street is just really now just moving very slowly. The kangaroos are knitting very, very slowly now. They're getting in at those loops, and you can see now that You see a path through the cars. You're gonna have to kind of dodge a little bit, kind of as you're trying to get through. Do you start across?
Yeah.
So Nancy starts across. Is everyone following?
I think Dustin's just kind of look a little nervously at first, and then be like, yeah, screw it, whatever. Not the strangest thing he's seen today.
That's fair. That's very fair. Yeah. Is that so? If everyone's heading across, you kind of are sort of moving against the flow of this kind of strange traffic. Again, this is a mix of cars from different eras. You see Model Ts, you see, and I mean, you see like what looks like a Lamborghini. You see, there's a big Volkswagen bus that's passing by. And then there are cars that look very strange. They look like they're painted in. There's one painted in zebra stripes. Not being driven by a zebra, just being driven by a regular person. But not everything is its own animal, but maybe many are. But as you're just sort of continuing through, and you're about 3/4 of the way through the street, you see, I think just one of you will sort of glance over to the who's closest to the left, basically. Who's closest to the I want to say, let's say if you're going across, who's like either in the rear or furthest outside, do you think, this little group?
I'll take that spot.
Okay. Jamaro, as you're sort of looking, you will notice your head is turning and you're all sort of dodging through the traffic. You look back, you glance back over, and you see you've been watching that cop who's got his back turned to you, that key turning very slowly. And then you look over just as you're passing him, and you see one of the cops at that stand is looking directly at you. And he's still moving in slow motion, but you can see he drops his donut, which starts going down very slowly, and he's reaching over to grab the other cop and is pointing in your direction.
Well, I'm just gonna call out to everybody. I think we've got company coming. How long do you think you can hold this out?
No idea. Should we run?
Awesome. We probably should.
Yeah.
And as he picks up his pace, and he's just going to turn to the cops and just give double freedom rockets.
They're $6 million manning their way now.
I was
They're
thinking the same thing.
Trying to come. They're breaking into a run very slowly. They're sort of runs. They're trying to catch up to you, and they make it to about their corner, just as you make it to the far corner, to the corner that's on the end of the medical district. I assume you crossed on that side, and you see that they're like bolting out because you were crossing against the traffic. That traffic on the other side is stopped, so they're just sort of gesturing, and the traffic cop is turning and blowing his whistle to try to keep that traffic at bay, as these other cops are now running after you very slowly, and they are starting to speed up a little bit.
No, we're running very fast.
You are running very fast. That is true. But
is there anything I can throw at the traffic cop by any chance?
Oh, sure. As you're getting onto the side where the medical district is, and you'll see that there is there's this. There's a stand that it's a little. Let me see here. There are a few different things here. There are going to be fewer like actual stands out here per se, but things that you would find on a sort of a busy city street like this. Yeah, there is a place where there's a little sort of kiosk where some folks are selling what looks like bicycle helmets, and where you can actually rent bicycles that are locked up, that are kind of locked into this sort of the racks, a bicycle rack. They're like there may be something on that stand. You see a few helmets sort of perched there on the edge of the stand if you want to throw one of those.
He's actually going to try to see if he can grab one from someone who just rented the helmet and the bike, because he doesn't really want to be called for shoplifting. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you do a roll versus 2 pain. I'm gonna go ahead and roll that, and I got 1 success. So yeah, you can then you'll have your discipline and your exhaustion, and if you want, you can use madness as well.
No, I just want to use my discipline.
All right. And how much exhaustion do you have right now?
3.
Okay, you do have to roll that still as well. That's permanent exhaustion. Okay, so you got 3 successes, and it looks like discipline is dominating. And even if I used a despair coin, it wouldn't really affect much here. So discipline's still going to dominate. So you can erase a thing. You can erase either a check mark or an exhaustion die. And yeah, so you see someone is they're just rolling their bike in, or someone who just rented, or just someone who just put away.
Someone who just rented, I guess.
Just rented. You see someone there. You see them very very slowly reaching toward a bike to pull it out of the rack, as they've just put the helmet on, and they're reaching forward to pull the bike out.
So Jomaru is just going to pull the helmet off and drape his robe, his sequined robe, over that person as an additional distraction. And then he is just going to heave the helmet as hard as he can at the traffic cop to try to disrupt his signaling.
So yeah, this hits the traffic, because you're going at the rate you're currently going at. This hits the traffic cop at with great accuracy, and very fast. So it's kind of like you were firing a helmet out of a cannon at him.
Ooh, are we all on the other? Are we on the other side at this point?
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
You're
so
all on the
I'll
other
let it
side.
go then,
Okay.
so it can go.
Yeah, you see that in the traffic cop. It gets him right in the key. And he's like, as these others are trying to dodge and weave, and then there's now, so I think that, so there is this mighty sound from behind you as you are fleeing that you hear. To call it a crash would, I think, even be an understatement at this point, because it's kind of like it's rather like a monster made of metal has just fallen onto another monster made of metal, basically. 2 metallic kaijus hitting each other, I think, is about the sound that we're looking for here. As these cars, everybody is basically T-boning everyone else. Cars are flipping over arse over tea kettle. People and people that look less like humans are being flung from their vehicles, going through the air. Explosions are happening. It's it's a time. But this distracts the police. And there are the sounds of panic. Alarms are going off at this point as you're making your way away. You get out of sight of the chaos that has just erupted on the corner at that corner. Eventually, the sounds of panic are starting to die down as you're getting further away, as you're running. You do hear sirens. They're trying to get here. You see very far up ahead is what looks like, again, sort of a Keystone Cop type vehicle that's rumbling along, we're looking like 1920s type vehicle, rumbling along on the far side with a lamp rotating blue and red on it, rumbling along the sidewalk. People are diving out of the way. A lot of them sort of like looking like school children, because that's over in the re-education district, as they're just sort of diving away. Education professionals, college professor types, are moving to get out of the way of this carriage full of clockwork cops that sail past on the opposite side, as they're moving in that direction, trying to deal with this utter chaos that has just erupted. But you have successfully managed to navigate away from that particular trouble. The medical district is a little bit sort of, well, the districts are all dark, but there are certain kinds of hospitals that are dark in a very special way. That I feel as though people who have been to hospitals at all frequently, or a kind of will recognize. You're looking at very kind of old school architecture here. When it's not twisted and sort of leaning, which a lot of it is. Again, a mishmash of buildings from different eras. A lot of them are brick, and some of them look a little more modern. There are a number of businesses here that support just sort of medical equipment, that kind of thing. As you sort of looking through, a lot of the different storefronts, sort of, it seems as though the things they're advertising on the different signs and what have you, it looks like it's hard to tell whether they're advertising medical equipment or torture gear. It's kind of hard to tell. There's a line there somewhere. But it's
nowadays,
hard.
What's the difference?
Well, to be fair, and they're even you see places that specialize in excruciation therapy, which is right next to the acupuncture and aromatherapy store. Or it wouldn't be called a store. What are those things called? Facility. I can't remember. There's a name for it, and I can't remember. Parlor? I can't. Anyway, it's a thing. What was it?
Clinic?
Clinic! Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. There you go. So you're proceeding along. And ultimately, you will make it to the outside of what looks like... Everything looks kind of like it's a bit more isolated. Not as many people, because you actually have to turn down a side street to get to the sanitarium. and so it's not like right on the it's not like right on the main street. It's actually it's pretty close. It's closer to the necropolis than it is to the arts district. As you're and there are some, billboards advertising for addresses beyond it, death therapy that they have available, beyond at the, sort of in some of the facilities, beyond where you're going. You finally, after, going down a couple of twisting streets, you're not quite sure how long it's been, but for you to get here. But it's harder to see parts of the city here because you have the architecture again is leaning in kind of from both directions almost. And you finally come to this place. There is a big iron fence that is ringing around this very large property, with sort of stone pillars at regular intervals in between the iron fencing. There are a couple of buildings that are kind of like that, that are pretty well together. There's a more general hospital that is very tall. Looks like a giant brick. Basically was thudded down into the middle of a big lot. And you have to pass that. There is a smaller building that it's a round-looking building in between that has in between those two properties, that has like a sign on it that says it's the chirurgeon parlor. And as you're going by, you see these this person sort of hobbling out wearing a lab coat, and you can see that he's got kind of stitching down the middle of his face, and it's like two different types of skin, and two different colored hands. Basically, one is kind of greenish, and he's stepping out with a cup of coffee and just sort of drinking it, and kind of just sort of waves as you pass by. And the next, which is the sanitarium, which again is like the general hospital, has these big wrought iron gates, these big wrought iron fencing with stone pillars. As you pass by, as you're getting close, there is an entrance. The front gate is open. It does intersect with. There's another road that comes up to it. This is it's not a major intersection like is just a short, kind of a disturbingly short distance away to where the necropolis starts. But it's a slightly bigger intersection that just coming from the re-education district, where you're sort of looking up, and you can, on the left, very tall pillared buildings. There's kind of a Mount Olympus almost looking building that looks like just a regular school building on top of like this high rise. It's really weird. And school buildings of various different eras out there. But as you sort of are coming up, and you can, and it's a couple blocks down. It's like a block or two down, like I said, but you can see them from here. But when you're coming to, front gate is open. It's this big archway, and across it says in iron, sanitarium.
Well, this is the place.
They're not much for branding in here, are they?
No. I need to work on that.
There's a little sign outside that it says it contains psychiatric wards for the adjunct of the hospital. Which let's see. Yeah, it's for some reason the hospital apparently it's and you saw a sign for this a way back, but it doesn't fully register until you see it here. It's sort of apparently it contains psychiatric wards for a grizzly hospital.
The worst. Is it spelled like grizzly bear or like grizzly?
So it looks like it's supposed to be Grisly, but someone has defaced the sign and carved in 2 Z's.
Cool, great, love it.
I'm not sure which edition is better.
Right?
So there it is. You've got a big wide lot. There's a there's what looks like a very sort of beat up parking deck on one side of it. And then this gray building that's like maybe like a 3-story building. That's looks like you can see iron bars in parts of some of the windows.
Okay, does anybody else feel like we're in a horror game now?
But this is a bit overbearing.
It's like all one tone. Okay, so hopefully there's a directory inside and we can figure out exactly where she is. If not, I can try to call that German guy again.
We're at an asylum. Maybe calling the German guy not a great idea.
I mean, that is what I thought, but
I mean, we're here already. We might as well just move forward because
yeah.
eventually they're going to resolve that little fender bender we left behind.
Yes.
I just hope this place doesn't have a self-admittance clause.
Oh, it definitely will. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna head toward the the main building.
All right.
There we go.
So I will point out that, and again, they're not currently looking in your direction, but as you go in through the gates, and you sort of glance, you're sort of glancing around as you're entering, you do see on the street there is this sort of there's this car on the street, this black car, that you see a couple of the trench-coated individuals just sort of standing, and they're kind of looking up at the some of them. Well, maybe they were sort of looking up at the sanitarium, and then they were sort of looking around. They're just sort of sitting there, parked on the street, just kind of maybe waiting for something, just hanging out. Trench coats and hats without faces.
Hate those guys.
So one of those two.
You're muted, Ron.
Do we all notice that, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, as soon as Nancy says something, everyone kind of looks over, and there they are. Sort of strange, kind of. It's hard to describe their physique because it's like. It almost like it tapers impossibly, kind of as you go down. and they move kind of strangely and awkwardly.
Like two halflings in a trench coat.
More like, actually, Dustin, because you work with sculpture, you kind of the closest you would be able to put it to it would be like, it's like the coat and hats are thrown over a wireframe model. Someone was made of like a wire mesh something. Or maybe it's just from the way that they're moving. That's what you would guess is kind of what it's like. His coat and suits, these shabby suits.
I think maybe we should hurry up and get inside.
Yeah. I don't know how they see, because they don't have eyes. But sure, I love walking fast. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
You head in. So the main entrance to the sanitarium is the entrance to the lobby. This is an old-fashioned building. So you have this these two large iron doors on the front. It looks like there's a slot, and it also looks like there is there's a knocker, and there is also what looks like a bell pull. And there actually is in one of the doors. There's another slot lower down. There's actually like a sign that says deposit memories in slot after 13 o'clock.
Place is weird. Does anybody want to do the honors? I would play nose goes, but I think I'd lose anyway. I'll ring the bell.
All right. I don't have a bell ringing sound effect, unfortunately. But you start to pull the bell, and this isn't. Nancy realizes this because you haven't actually pulled yet, but when your hand wraps around the rope and you're about to pull, you hear from up above one of the windows, you hear, "Ah! Ah! 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 Ah!" So it's kind of like almost, to everyone else, it almost looks like she pulled the bell and that sound happened.
Can't imagine that a really professional sanitarium would have something like that.
I mean, I
think
feel
we're
like
screwed.
we're at like the Adams house. Okay. I'm gonna try to pull it now.
Bong. This is a sound that seems soft at first and then resonates throughout this entire lot, it seems. And after a moment, you hear what sounds like steps on the other side. And the slot opens. And you see an individual who you can see this much of their face right now. It looks like they do have a scar running down through sort of where their eye is, and they have like, it looks like one of their eye is a glass eye, probably. But then they also have that thing where on the scar you realize there's stitching, and on one side of it, it's a little green, slightly greenish skin, and on the other side, it's sort of a light brown skin. And you sort of, there is, they look out at you for a moment. Can I help you?
We were hoping to see Dr. Knight.
Do you have an appointment?
I'm her sister, so...
Huh. I can ask the administrator.
Is the administrator's name Klaus by any chance?
Yes.
Oh, he knows I'm coming.
Ah, all right then. Sort of look back. Just give it a moment if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull back, and you can see more of their face now. And it's, it runs down like sort of the side, and it's really like the side. You see that they've got kind of a metal cap they're wearing of some kind, or might be. It's hard to say whether it's like part of them or not. They sort of turn and they pull. You see them pull down a blower, basically a tube they blow into, and they're sort of leaning over and they're kind of muttering a little bit. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's he's saying you can't really say it takes a moment. And sure, I'll go with that. Says, sort of comes back. Just a moment. He closes the door. You hear like a series of locks being opened, and the door swings open, inward. He sort of pulls back. All right, come on.
Okay.
I can take you, and as you're entering, it's a little dingy in here, not terribly. There's this corridor that looks like it's probably painted in some color somewhere between tan and green. As you're sort of coming in there, this individual, they're wearing a lab coat, and what looks like kind of a medical smock underneath it. They're pretty tall, and you come to a what looks like a big sort of desk, a round desk, and there are corridors going off in different directions. You hear, as you're kind of coming in, there's some light music that's sort of scratchily playing from somewhere, but kind of as you're coming in, you hear other sounds also, like from like upstairs. Occasionally you hear something that sounds like a laugh, or something that sounds like a... At one point you hear what sounds like running, and then as you come up, you see that there's a nurse behind the desk, and she's sort of dressed in more of the 50s nurse type get up. So with the sort of the hat thing and the smock.
Guys, we might be in the evil within right now. I'm just saying. I don't know if everybody's played that, but we might be in there. Just saying.
And the person that has been leading you up to the desk just sort of leans over and says to the nurse, "They're here to see. They're here to see Dr. Oppenheimer. They have an appointment." And she just sort of nods. Sort of looks at you through her horn-rimmed glasses. All four of them? Well, the doctor just said to bring them up. They'll have to have tags.
It's at that point that Jomaru is going to start feeling a little self-conscious about losing his robe, because there really isn't a whole lot left for them to attach a tag to. Is there a spare lab coat or something just hanging around?
You're gonna have a look for a lab coat. I think that if you fall back a little bit, there is a closet that it looks like a cloakroom. And I'm just going to say you can go in, and there is there are a few lab coats in there.
Is there anything fabulous in there by any chance?
Okay, that I'm going to require a roll for. So the pain of fabulosity in this place, I think, is going to be... The pain rating is going to be 3. To find
I'll
something...
just settle for the lab coat. I was just curious if there's anything there that would...
This is a very, very drab establishment. So it is unfortunately...
You could tear it and make it like a crop top.
I mean, there are regular coats here. There are... it looks like, very sort of in browns and grays and blacks. Because it's a cloakroom.
Take your Macho Man jacket off, put the lab coat on, and then put the Macho Man jacket on top of the lab coat.
Well, I left the Macho Man robe at the bike stand. So, is there a trench coat here?
Yeah, total. There are so many trench coats here.
Okay. Well, if I didn't look like a flasher before, here we go. He's just going to grab a trench coat.
You got a trench coat. So, would you like a black trench coat, a brown trench coat, or a gray trench coat?
We'll go with gray.
Okay, you're now wearing... Great, you now match Dustin. You come out. And the nurse is giving you these... is basically handing up these tags with kind of a weird kind of... she's actually comes up, she gets... she comes through the desk. There's an opening in the desk she comes through. And she'll come up to... She'll come up and she will pin rather severely pin a visitor's badge onto each of you. It's just basically made in paper. And she will ask, "Can I get your names, please?"
Nancy Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Are these "Hello, my name is" badges, or are these?
No, the badges just say visitor on them. But she wants a record of your name that she's writing down. Actually, she's probably gonna. But I mean, actually, you can, if you want, you can fill out your name on the badge. That's up to you. There's a line for it. And there's a container on the desk of a bunch of those stubby little golf pencils, golf and/or library pencils. But she will affix these things to you, and it's like you stab a pin through a part of your clothing, and hopefully not your anatomy. It's not comfortable, but it's, and sort of ties it in, and then so you've got these visitors badges on, made of almost cardboard, and she will say, take the hallway behind me to the elevator. Take that up to the second floor. And it is the fourth office on the left.
Thank you.
And she nods and sits back down. You all head in. You basically continue further into the bowels of this establishment. You see the elevator that she's talking about. It is an old elevator of the kind that you have to move a grill aside to operate. There is an individual there is what looks like, I would say that the elevator operator in this building, looks like a person with an owl's head. Possibly, you see that there may be stitching involved, actually, at around the neck level. Wearing just what looks like kind of is dressed kind of like an orderly, more than anything else. He just sort of looks at you all as you enter. What floor, please? It says somehow manages to say through its beak.
2?
Reaches over, pulls the lever. Well, actually, you have to make sure you have to close the grill first, and then the elevator starts rolling up. Come up. The sounds of the occasional panicking and screaming become a little bit louder. And singing. You're on the second floor. You see that there are offices that line this initial hallway before it branches off. You presumably, as you make your way forward to the fourth door on the left, you'll see that the nameplate by the office door says Dr. Klaus Oppenheimer, Administrator.
As we get off the elevator, I'm just gonna kind of nudge Yamaru and kind of nod back towards the elevator guy. Just kind of.
He's still standing there staring.
Who do you think he works for?
That's some sort of joke or pun that you're trying to shoot for?
Yeah. Come on. We need a little levity, all right? with everything that we've seen so far?
Oh, I get it. It's because he's an owl, and you said who. Uh, and he's just gonna turn and continue to walk.
You see someone being at the intersection, being wheeled by in a wheelchair, their head down. They're like covered with a blanket, and you see that for a moment they're like their head raises up and they kind of look at you and they start to actually. It's like their skin starts to turn this this gray color and starting to scale up, and the orderly behind them just shakes his head and just sort of pats them on the shoulder, and they start like, and the orderly just sort of waves a syringe, and and they sit back down, and he nods, and just sort of the orderly looks up at you just kind of apologetically and just keeps pushing them. You make it to the door.
Okay, now I think we're on the set of American Horror Story Apocalypse. No, Asylum. And I hated that one. And all of them. I hated all of them. I'm gonna knock on the door.
Come!
Okay, I'm gonna open the door.
You open the door. There is what looks like this office is fairly big, but despite being fairly big, still looks cramped because there are filing cabinets and trays and papers everywhere. Papers stuffed into all manner of different places, and it looks like there are a few couple of tapestry. There's like a tapestry on one available wall, but that's about it. And there are dingy windows behind that you can't really see out of. And this gentleman with kind of light brown hair, it looks like he's probably in his 50s. He's wearing a lab coat. He's sitting behind the desk, and he's like, "Yeah, of course. Well, I can see what's going to go on. Yeah, it's and he's sort of looking up at you all, and he's like, no, I haven't seen anyone like that. No. All right. Yeah. No, I shall definitely make so. Oh, you are. Right. Did say? Okay. Well, you don't want to necessarily trust everything that they're going to talk about, yeah? I mean, they have pins for heads. There's nothing in there. There's nothing even in there to treat. There's not a. I tried treating one at one point, but it's all been removed. They've only got the drive. You know that. You know that better than I do. Yeah. All right. Well, I will. I guess we will. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll. About when? Okay. All right. We shall look forward to your visit. Very good. And he hangs up. Nancy Knight, I presume, he says, standing up.
Yep. These are my friends, work, proximity associates, whatever. They're pretty cool.
All right. If you would come in and close the door, we can talk.
Okay. That sounded like a bad phone call.
Do you all come in and close the door? He's just sort of nodding right now. He's waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You do that. He says, "Yeah. So it seems that the taxman is taking a direct interest in you. I told him you are not here, but there is a chance he will be stopping by."
The taxman?
This is rather unusual. He rarely ever leaves District 13, so I don't know what exactly it is that he wants, but He usually gets it. He runs the pinheads. Gentlemen in the sort of odd-looking folks in trench coats and hats.
Me and Lila are familiar.
We'll just have to make sure we're not here then, won't we?
Yeah, it's from what I've been able to tell. He's rather a. It's very difficult to read, but from what I've been able to tell, he's somewhat of. It's almost as though he was expecting it. Not the first call like this, actually, that I've gotten. For some reason, there's not a. He's sort of looking down through his papers. There's not a Lila here, is there? Ah. Yeah. Yeah, I got a call asking I got a call from the broadcast asking after you.
Yeah, someone was trying to recruit me for some kind of broadcast this morning.
Ah.
It was pretty secretive about it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Yes, they kind of go a little bit loggerheads, and I really am hoping that they don't. Well, we'll see. But yeah, they seem to believe that. All I know is it's like they heard your trajectory and it would lead you here. I don't know exactly what that means. But I suppose you do not have a huge amount of time. So I think that oh yeah, probably not. Whatever you're here to do, we should probably take care of it.
Right. So we're here to get my sister.
I don't know that that is necessarily a good idea. She is she's very popular here, and this is rather what she is. It's rather ingrained. She's very quickly become, well, I don't know how to tell you this because it's clear you did not know until this point, but she is become the foremost analyst in the Mad City. And I think that's where we're going to take a break. We are going to be back in just a few minutes whilst we digest what's going on, and we shall return. See you shortly. We have returned, and yes, we're in the we're in the friendly insane asylum, sanitarium. Sorry, and they're in the office of the administrator, Dr. Klaus Oppenheimer, and so he's just informed you about Alice, and
Yeah. Cool. Can we see her anyway?
well, she's she's a patient. I'm pretty sure she'd make an exception to see you. Certainly, it's up to her, really, more than anything else. See, that's what I'm saying is, she can leave whenever she wants. I don't know that she's going to want to.
Great. Cool.
But let me just check her schedule here. Yeah, she is with Mr. Lamp right now.
Mr. Lamp.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. Yeah, that's in. Let me just go ahead and let me just call ahead real quick just to make sure. And he reaches over. There's a series of tubes that come up here. And he presses a button on it and he picks up the blower. Yeah. Alice. Yeah. Your sister's here to see you. Your sister Nancy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't know what's the situation is with that, but yeah, I think that it's probably going to be perfectly fine. She came a long way. All right, I'll tell them. Okay. Puts the tube back. All right. Yeah. So you can go up and see her. Are any of you carrying any things that's flammable? Any lighters, anything like that?
No.
Mr. Lamp's condition is acting up at the moment, so I just wanted to make certain before you go up there, because there could be difficulties if that is the case. We've made a certain amount of. Alice has made a good amount of progress with Mr. Lamp, and we just want to make sure that he does not backslide. Is all I am saying. So you're going to go to the elevator. She is in 302. Yeah. He's going to. He reaches into a couple of drawers. And he digs out. He throws a couple of things out until he finds like a book, a spiral-bound book that he turns a few pages on. He's like, here we go. And he opens the stamp, and he stamps like 4 things in the book, and he tears them out. And he says, "Yeah, you can show this to the orderlies, so that they'll know you're allowed to be up there."
Great.
Mr. Lamp is not ordinarily allowed visitors. They don't ordinarily allow visitors up there, but he just shows that to them. You'll be all right.
Cool.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Anybody?
I mean, other than a good nap.
This place, well, all we could really do is talk to you about why you don't really need one. That's, I think the most we could do there. If you fall asleep, no, falling asleep here is a terrible idea. You really should not.
Well, no problems there then.
Yeah. And they can, they'll be able to track you immediately if you fall asleep. It's just not a good idea. Best not to.
Great.
Right. Well, do stop by again if you need if you need anything else. I should be here probably for the next next hour or more. Provided we don't have any other sudden surprises, which this place, it happens.
Okay, thank you.
For what it's worth, I wish you the best of luck.
Uh-huh. To open the door and walk out. If we're all going out in the hall.
Yeah, I'll follow you.
Okay. Jamaru. You look strong.
Okay. I mean, no offense to you guys, but I think I'm the only one here who actually works out.
I mean, yeah, I'm an artist, so. How would you feel about carrying a woman screaming through the streets? Would you be okay with that? If it was for the best.
I mean, I guess I could.
Okay. No, you look like you'd be really, like, you could do it. She's tiny anyway. Looks like a bird.
I feel so much familial bonding coming from you right about now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I'm the overprotective big sister.
Okay, but if we do this, I can't exactly fight with your sister over my shoulders. So that means you guys are going to have to throw down if you need to.
Well, hopefully she'll listen to reason and sanity.
Yes, because that is such a trend here in this city.
Let's go see our owl friend.
What floor, please?
Third?
Do you have passes?
Yeah. Show him.
Are you sure you want to go up there?
Yeah?
Very well. And the elevator starts. And you have to close the gate and start going up. The elevator's rattling. You get higher and higher up to the third floor, which actually is just one floor, so it's not that long. So you come up, and the elevator shudders to a halt. And you see that the corridors here are tiled. The walls are tiled, the floor is tiled, there are tiles everywhere. Everything's a dingy white color. And again, you have this corridor that goes out, and again, toward the front, in the direction of the front of the building. And a main intersection, and see there are different rooms. the rooms look, the doors look like cell doors. Or anything else on this floor? And so they've got like the little food slots at the bottom and sort of grill in the middle. And there are orderlies that you see walking past, and as you see the orderlies, there is something a little odd is in that they seem to have all of them. You haven't looked at one close up yet. They've got all very pale skin, and there's something weird about their hands.
Like what?
It's like the fingers are like maybe looking a little pointier than they should.
No.
As far as you can tell from here, it's hard to tell exactly.
No.
Or at least, yeah, that's what you're seeing from the couple that you see go by.
No thanks. I'm gonna go find room 302.
Okay. So you're coming in. You step up. Again, you hear the occasional cackle from a cell. You hear the occasional sounds of panic. What you do not hear is sleeping. No one here is asleep. But as you come around the corner, there is a large gorilla of an orderly. Not an actual gorilla. But gorilla-esque. And you see that one of his hands is a big mallet. And you think that, there's that basically, and the other hand actually looks sort of big and boxing glove-like. And he just sort of is standing there looking at... He almost takes up the whole corridor. And he's just sort of standing there looking at you. Passes. You have passes. Why are you here?
I hold up the thing like a shield in front of me this whole way.
He leans forward and looking at your passes. He leans very close to your pass and he's like... He sniffs your pass. He sniffs everyone else's passes.
Sounds like German administrator.
Okay. And he just sort of, he kind of shifts and sort of to let you pass. You keep walking past him, presumably. As you do so, you hear him falling into step behind you.
Cool. Tight. Love it.
And you're looking at the numbers by the doors, and you eventually, close to the end of the hallway, in the corner, in the direction of the front of the building, is room 302. There's another orderly at the end of the hallway who looks kind of skinny, but sort of in there, and he's just he's got his hands folded inside his lab coat, and he's just sort of looking out at everybody.
I guess I will knock on 302.
from inside, you hear, actually, can you just throw 1 or 2 personality traits at me for Alice, just so that I will know a little bit more about her?
Oh my god. Well, I already hate her just from that sound you just made. Oh no. Lauren, don't make this hard on you. Don't make it hard. I was literally about to say stubborn. Stubborn.
Okay.
I just imagine like, and I think she looks like our friend Alice. So,
From the academy,
Yeah,
Alice, that one?
yeah.
Okay, great.
so we're saving her.
Yep.
So she's, so she's stubborn and, everybody likes her. That's not really a personality trait.
No, that's
but
fine. I can work with that, actually. Now that
Yeah.
you've given me a reference for a person, I actually have much more to work with. And so there's a moment, and you hear, and you hear sort of little foot's padding up to the door. Now is not a good time.
Hi, idiot.
What are you doing here?
I came to get you.
Get me? What, are you a nightmare now?
Oh my god, I came to bring you home, moron.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
No, hang on, no, Mr. Lamp. Remember your breathing exercises.
Are you literally
just calm
talking
down.
to a lamp? Are you
And you can
literally-
hear this that sounds like, it's hard to, it's like this, there's this buzzing sound that you can hear from the other side. And you see light pouring out through the slot, through the food slot. And she's like, now, don't take that attitude with me. Now, Mr. Lamp, you're not going to get better if we do not deal with your issue. All right. And for a moment you hear from the other side. And she's like, right, well, maybe when you come back around, we'll be able to try this again. Goodness. And you hear then her just sort of, you hear a sort of a tap tap tap, and the skinny orderly sort of stands up, and he pulls out his hand, which is a key. Actually, his hands, which each has a different looking key at the end of them. He kind of they cycle through a few different keys. And he goes, and he opens the door, unlocks the door, and then the door opens, and you see her standing there. Kind of just she's wearing a mask, medical mask. That she pulls down. She's sort of narrow face and kind of, she has frizzy hair, although right now it's pulled back. And she looks at, and she just looks at you, but she acknowledges that there are three other people here, and she says, What is this delusion of home you're talking about?
Oh my god. You know the place where there's like daytime and frappuccinos and apartments and mom and dad, that place.
Oh my goodness. She slowly, as she's emerged, you kind of see past, and there's this sort of light glow coming from the bed. There's someone lying on the bed in the cell. And as she'll come out, and she'll close the door behind her. She looks up at She looks past you at the gorilla guard, and she says, "It's all right, Tom. Would you please walk with me for just a minute?"
Sure, I'll walk with you.
She's going through. She's looking at things in a sort of little notebook. She's making notes. Who are your friends?
They're people I worked with a project on. We hang out sometimes.
And as you get to the intersection, she sort of turns. She looks. Says, "Wasn't that it was a game of some kind, right? A video game?"
Yes.
Huh. How did that go?
Bad.
Shakes her. She makes another note.
Okay, so you know about video games. That's good.
Who doesn't know about video games? They're everywhere. She turns, and you come to this hallway that she moves toward the end again, toward the front of the building, where there's this kind of little area where there are little sort of rounded window seat type deal, and there are a couple of windows. She heads over to, and she's gonna head over and sit down. She's just sort of looking up. How bad is it? Are you all right? I'm very concerned.
Yeah, I just found my missing sister. You've been gone for like over 2 weeks.
You've been gone for over 2 weeks.
No, you've been gone for over 2 weeks.
Why are... I've been working. I've been here working. I've been helping
You're
people.
not a doctor.
She just sort of looks at you like, and she just sort of shakes her head. She says, Do you think they give these to just anyone?" She says, just sort of showing her lab coat and her badge.
Yeah, they do.
Her badge is actually plastic. It's like it's got her name on it and everything. And she looks at, you've got a pass to get up here. What have you been telling Klaus? Nancy, I'm fine. I'm helping people here.
Okay, because some of these people are not people. Some of them have owl heads and...
Well, that's a very prejudiced attitude to take.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Nancy.
Shut up, Jamaru. I knew I was going to get it.
Oh, you're Jamaru. She's talked about your design, your characters before.
Oh, really? I thought I was very underappreciated.
We all appreciate you. That's not what this is about, though. But Jamaru can back me up. Jamaru, tell her she's been missing for 2 weeks.
Honestly, I didn't even know you had a sister until about 2 days ago.
Lila!
It sounds like she's deflecting. Isn't that the term for what's
Yeah.
happening here.
Yeah. Isn't that the term? Yeah.
And she will lean forward, and Alice will lean forward and sort of gestures at Nancy and says, "Yes, it does sound like she's deflecting." Are these all of your coworkers? Why did you drag all of your coworkers here?
We
We were in the
met.
neighborhood.
Yeah. They were here on their own.
I mean, we didn't really drive.
She looks now to Jamaro and to Lila and Dustin. She says, "I am so sorry. Has she been? Is that what this is all about? She was obsessed that there was something wrong, and that
I kick her a little.
she gets to her feet at that point, and and just sort of looking over. You always do this. You are always trying to.
It's because you don't listen.
Tell me what I need to do. You're trying to. My God. I am very helpful here. I am doing what I want to do, and you are now, again, trying to control my life. Why? What are you doing? What is the...
We're going home. That's what we're doing. You
This is
actually
about
need
things-
to... What?
This is about things going badly for... Is this because... Did you have that problem with your video? You said there were things that were... Is this because of all that? Did that tank, and now you want to drag me down into your problems?
She's gonna look at Jamaru and be like, I believe they're sisters.
She just closes her eyes for a second. She's like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Clearly there's a lot that we need to work out, and there's a lot that I think maybe you need to work out. Maybe you could stay here for a bit, and we could look into that."
Excuse me?
She's shaking her head. While this conversation is going on, I just who is closest to the window right now? I think maybe could be Lila, could be Dustin, possibly, given the way the conversation has been going.
Probably me, yeah.
Something's gonna catch your eye from outside. For but a moment, you hear a melody playing that you recognize. You look out, and you see that it appears to be coming from across the way, there is a building with a billboard. Looks like it's an electronic billboard, and it goes to static for a moment, as it seems to be playing the tune. In the static, and then from the static emerge two words that you can see in bright yellow letters. Look out. And there's an arrow pointing down. You look down, and across the street, or in the street, you see a long black car pull up. And you see those two pinheads go over to it. They open the side door, You see a couple more pinheads getting out of the front of the car. And you see a very large individual get up out of the back, wearing what looks like, even from here, a very pristine business suit. You can only see, like, sort of from the back for a moment. But when he turns around and strides into the light, tie, impeccable power suit. His head is a giant pushpin. Giant plastic pushpin.
Cool.
And he and some of his friends, the pinheads, are striding in through the front gates.
Nancy?
Yeah. What's up, Lila?
Oh, we might need to continue this conversation elsewhere later. We've got company.
I would love to continue this conversation elsewhere. Anywhere elsewhere. Al, sis, hun. How about you just listen to me for a second, since I am the older sister here, and you just come with me and I'll show you home, okay? And we'll just see if what I'm saying is true, because they are all saying it's true. So just come on, it'll be easy. If I'm wrong, I'll come back here with you and we can work out our issues.
So Nancy is a level 5 pain individual.
Me? Great.
Not Nancy, I'm sorry. Alice is a level 5 pain individual.
I mean, is she? She's so tiny.
I know, you would think. My apologies. For some reason, I keep transposing the sisters' names in my head. I do not know why. It's because I'm actually it's because I see the overlay in front of me and I see the word Nancy as I'm speaking to you. That's probably
Yeah.
But anyway, so Alice is a level 5. I'm not going to call her a nightmare because we don't know whether that's the case yet or not. So it's going to be 5 pain as you're trying to convince her to come with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll.
Okay.
And I got only 1 success.
Suck! You suck, Alice. Okay, so I rolled discipline and then I can add exhaustion.
Yeah, you have to roll your discipline and any exhaustion you have. If you don't have any, you can take an exhaustion ahead of time. You need to increase your exhaustion by 1.
Yeah.
You also can roll madness if you want. As many dice as you want, up to 6 for madness.
Well, last time I rolled 3. Do I have to roll 3 if I roll it?
What, madness?
Yeah.
No, you can roll 1 to
cool.
6. That's always up to you, unless you have permanent madness, which you don't yet.
Got it. Which I don't yet. Okay. I will. So I'm going to roll my discipline. I'm going to add an exhaustion die, just 1.
Okay.
And I will roll. I think I'll roll 2 madness because I feel like I'm going nuts.
Perfectly justified.
I'm going to roll her into the ground. Suck it. Suck it. Suck it.
All right. Well, let's take a look.
Shit. Pain's
So pain would dominate in the ordinary scheme of things, but I'm going to spend a coin of despair to change that. And I'm going to add a 6 to the madness pool.
Oh, cool.
So, would you like to check off a fight or a flight response?
I'm gonna say that this is flight instead of a fight. Like, I know it could be either, but I think it's more like we have to go and we have to go now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, she is going to... She's going to just... Finally, she's going to be like... I could probably arrange with class to take a few minutes or maybe maybe an hour. I might be able to get an hour. I can come with you for a bit.
Cool.
All right. Will that
Yes,
satisfy
I
you?
am happy. Happy day.
Oh, let's grab some food.
Yeah,
Have a nice meal. I mean,
sure.
I'm really famished all of a sudden. And we should go out the back way. Let's.
Yeah, I love
that
back ways. Let's do it.
She's just sort of like, there's not a really a back door that I mean, well,
Cool. Is there a staircase?
what's the matter? We can just take the elevator down.
No, but just like out of curiosity, like Jamaru's hungry. I'm not really that hungry yet. My metabolism sucks. So, I just like to, get in some stairs.
Yeah. We do, yeah, there's well, it's not, they're supposed to, there's some people who are supposed to come and work on it. So there is a staircase, but we're not really supposed to go down it right now. It's not safe.
Oh, little.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fun. It'll be like when we would like go to the Barrens as kids. It'll be fine.
When you're saying
We'll
that
practice
to her,
our parkour.
she's like,
I mean, if you're gonna
all
take
right,
a
well,
walk,
let me just,
who takes an elevator?
well, okay, well, let me just stop in and tell Klaus, all right?
He knows. I told him. I was like, I'm gonna take Alice out.
I have to, do you have any
No,
idea how many
he
patients
knows.
are...
I'm just saying that he already knows. He's covering for you. It's cool. It's chill. Let's go down the stairs. Woo!
You better not make me regret this. So she's going to lead you to the down another hallway to an area where there's an internal door that says stairwell that you're starting to head toward, when from around a far corner comes the gorilla orderly, and he just sort of comes up, he sort of sees where you're heading, he's like, it's not safe.
Thanks, Tom. We got it, though. I'll watch out for her. I don't know what this was. Bye.
He's going to put his hand up against the in front of the stairwell door. Covers kind of more of it than you would think a hand could. Not safe. It is not safe.
We signed the waivers.
Alice, can you tell him that it's fine?
She just sort of is for a moment. She's like, Tom, I think it'll be better for her if we just go through with that. And he's like, and he'll be like, all right.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tom.
I'm telling Dr. Oppenheimer.
He knows.
You head into the stairwell.
And we immediately plummet.
You immediately and you see this rickety set of wooden stairs heading down. Down 3 flights.
I mean, looks pretty safe. Dustin looks pretty safe, huh? You've got a good eye. Looks safe.
A wood plank falls from above down and bashes off a banister that also breaks off and then falls down.
It's only 3 floors. If we even make it 2 floors, I mean, a fall from the 1 floor isn't exactly going to kill us.
It's a great point. That is a great
Oh, we could even survive 2 floors fall.
Yeah.
Survive, but will we be able to run if we have to? I've already.
Jim, is there anything like a railing or anything, vaguely pole or rod shaped?
There's a banister, but as far as that, it's not really necessarily rod shaped per se. There are
I mean,
some
a banister will work.
Yeah, there's a banister. It's a rickety wooden banister.
Okay. So, I'd like to see if I could use my madness talent.
What would you like to do?
So I'm thinking that, with everything that's going on as far as like us really needing to get out of here and losing time because, somebody's sister is not exactly,
She's a butt.
she's dragging her heels. His ability to warp and distort reality, that banister kind of begins to twist and lengthen a bit so that it forms almost like a fireman's pole. Like it starts to extend the direction that we need it to go, where we could just kind of slide down the banister.
Gotcha. So just to be clear, also just because I don't know if we didn't work this out until more recently, that your madness talent is sort of you sculpt things in the air, right? Basically, you can like make things be sculpted in a certain way.
It's whenever Dustin starts to get like panicky, either desperate or afraid, nearby objects start kind of distorting almost in response to his need.
Gotcha. All right.
So
it's
not exactly
nearby objects. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly something that he has precise control over or even necessarily direct control over. It's just almost as if whatever it is that just begins to reshape sort of vaguely understands what he needs.
Well, the control will depend on the number of madness dice. Do you want this to be just a straight up and down pole, or are you just going for something that you can slide down as one would a banister going around?
Either works for me. Again, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, Dustin doesn't have exact control over this.
Okay. For a direct, solid point-to-point banister, just as a banister, then I'm gonna call for 3 madness dice. If you want it to be to turn into an actual pole, like to sort of rise up and form a pole that you can slide down, I will require 4 madness dice. If you want it to be an absolutely safe pole that you can slide down, I will require 5 madness dice.
Let's go with the point-to-point.
The point-to-point banister, gotcha. So you're going to be rolling at least 3 madness. You're going to be rolling your discipline and any exhaustion that you have. And of course, you always can increase your exhaustion before you do this. Also, let me roll, please. By the way, I forgot to assign a pain rating. This will be a pain rating of 4 for this stairwell.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. 4 successes. Okay.
I don't like that.
Okay. So, all right. So for discipline,
Yeah. And you still have the again the macros on the sheet that can just automatically roll them for you if you want. All right. So that is 2 successes.
for madness, and I think I will
One
increase.
success.
I will take a point of exhaustion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you only have one? Okay. Hang on. So that is a total of 4 successes. Which matches, so that's what you needed. Give me a second to figure this out real quick. It is looking as though exhaustion is dominating. So you're going to gain another exhaustion. But so as you sort of reach forward, the banister just sort of changes and warps as you're getting closer. It sort of wriggles into this very solid, almost metal-looking thing that goes in a sort of a corkscrew all the way down along the edge of the staircase, and thus making it more secure.
Oh, hey, look at that adventure.
How do you explain that, Alice? Is that normal? Is that normal?
You hear a commotion, and she looks over and she just sort of glances over at Dustin. And she's like, shakes her head. She says, "If you need help with that, I can help you with that. By the way, you hear a commotion. By the way, coming from down the hallway. And you hear the sounds of running feet.
I would like to. Everything is tiled in here. It sounds like the acoustics of a giant bathroom, right? Sound's gonna carry nicely. I'm gonna start whistling or humming very slowly that eerie melody that I have been obsessing over for days, weeks, months. Very slowly, thinking to slow down whatever's happening over there and give us a little more time.
All right. So, as you're sort of holding back, is everyone else starting to head down the stairs? All right. So, Jamaro, Nancy, and Dustin head down the stairs with Alice. Lila, you begin humming this tune to try to slow down whoever's coming. The beings that are coming, you have 2 pinheads that are approaching. They are, let's see, together I'm just going to say that it's going to be a pain of 4 for these 2 pinheads. And so I'm going to go ahead and roll that. And I only got 1 success.
Here's my discipline. And I have 1 exhaustion from last time. And then, just because I said I was doing the thing, I'm gonna roll a madness die.
Oh yeah, yeah. For the song, just to slow them down a little bit, you're only gonna need like 1 madness die.
Okay.
Okay, so you are very successful.
I'm good at this.
Right now, pain is dominating. What's your exhaustion right now? Just the 1?
Just the 1.
Yeah, let me see here.
And I am
Oh, you know what?
injured
Actually,
from
if
last
I
time.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to actually spend 2 of these in order to really shift it. So, let's see. Yeah, no, pain's gonna dominate. All right. Okay. So these 2 pinheads come around the corner, and they're starting to, they skid into view. Their coats sort of flapping. You can see now their hats sort of pulled back, and you see these pins that are their heads, and they point, and this humming is like it gets to them a little bit, and they're starting to they're moving toward you not as fast as they would otherwise. They're just kind of like more sort of they're doing a fast walk rather than a run to try to get at you. However, as you're doing this, the song echoes in your head, since this is the first time I think you've used it offensively.
Yeah.
And you can hear this sort of ringing in your ears as you do so, as you feel it's like, okay, this is something I got to be a little, I gotta tune properly. Make the song, but the song just sort of comes out of you. What is that like?
At first it's just kind of quiet. I'm getting a feel for the notes, and then it starts to build and becomes more aggressive.
All right. So as that happens is when they're starting to slow down further, and they're trying to get at you. You can. Do you turn and run at any point, or are you just going to keep standing up here?
Yeah, I'm gonna run.
Okay.
I feel it start to echo, and I'm gonna book it.
Yeah. All right, you start heading down the stairs. So, Nancy, you've gotten with Alice down to the second floor at this point. Are you continuing down to the first floor?
Yeah, we're just going using the what Dustin made and just trying to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, the staircase is a lot easier to get down now that there's a very solid banister on it. Lila bolts down the stairs after you. As these guys are coming, but by the time you get down to the first floor, you see the two pinheads, or hear the two pinheads up on the top floor. You can't see them from where you are. Coming. You burst out of a door, and again you're seeing you're back on the ground floor. You hear the sort of Victrola sounding music coming from somewhere. Again, the with that strange drab brownish greenish wallpaper. As you burst out, and Alice is just sort of looking at you. Well, we are in a hurry, aren't we?
Like a casual hurry. I just, want to respect your time, sis. Because you always respect my time.
I sense there are issues. So yeah, she just sort of arches an eyebrow, and she says, "All right, well then," and she just sort of points. There is, she says, well, she actually starts heading toward where the front door would be. She starts heading in that direction. Do
any of us see anything? Like, we know that some pinheads went upstairs, but do we see that big guy?
You don't see him yet, no. But you do see the direction she's going. There are a couple of pinheads at the circulation desk.
Okay, I grab her wrist.
What?
Shut up. Is there like another way out of here?
Like through the exercise yard, I suppose.
That sounds so cool. I need to exercise. Let's do it. Think of it as sisterly bonding.
She shakes her head. She's like, all right, it's this way. And she turns and she just starts walking toward down the hall in the other direction.
Okay.
As you're all coming out, now all four of you are down here in this hallway. A couple of you are sort of glancing back, and you're coming toward you're going all the way down to the end of this hallway, toward a door in the far wall. and that's actually down. Yeah, there are a couple of other rooms. You see behind you a couple of the pinheads just sort of eventually have started, and they're starting to head in your direction. Those pinheads at the circulation desk, they have spotted you.
Oh, we blend in.
So casual. You head to this door. You pass through. It's a heavy door. It's a heavy iron door that she has to pull up and that you have to pull up and open. And you come out into this area that is a fenced-in portion within the iron fence. And there are a couple of folks kind of out here in straitjackets, sort of walking in circles. There are a couple of other patients down here who appear to be playing some kind of basketball. There's a basketball hoop with each other. There are a few people just sort of sitting around a table, just staring into the middle distance. Alice will wave at a couple of them, then she'll gesture. There is a sort of a gate in the middle of this of the fence that's facing the front. And she's just sort of walking over. She doesn't seem to be, she's not like overly taking her time, but she's not hurrying. She goes, she's like, all right, I've got the key here. Just a minute. She takes out the key and she reaches in. She unlocks the gate. As the gate is swinging open, you see coming around the corner, you've got some distance, but from the far side...
I hate corners.
I know! It's like they're everywhere. Where there are buildings. Why do buildings have corners?
I don't know.
You see two pinheads flanking what can only be the taxman.
Did they see us?
Well, you're not sure, but they're probably they because none of them have eyes, but they're kind of reacting. Yeah, they're kind of sort of looking but not until the gate opens. Uh-huh. When Alice opens the gate, then they're just sort of like, one of them is like sort of. Yeah.
We have to run.
The taxman is straightening his tie.
I give him the double birds, just like
but
my
why?
friend.
But that's the taxman. He's you don't want to
I grab her wrist and we are running.
All right. Taxman finishes straightening his tie, raises his hand, which you see that are spiked into needles on the end of them. And he rears back.
No!
And he's going to hurl them at you.
No, I'm going to slow them down.
Ah, okay. Now, so you're going to try to slow down. I have to ask this very specifically. Are you trying to slow down everyone? Uh-huh. Or are you just going to slow down the needles that he's hurling at you? Because I need to know how much pain to roll.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I think for now, my instinct is to stop the needles because those are what's coming fastest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are pain of 5.
Oh, what was the other option? 10? I also thought Jim was saying tax man. Like,
yeah, I know,
taxes.
right? It's apparently a pun of some kind. That's what they it's in the setting. All right.
Can I assist her with the slowing of things?
You may.
Yeah.
Now,
Wait,
the-
Jim made a pun?
Yeah.
no. Fred Hicks made a pun. I'm just using the setting. But so I rolled one success on that. So yeah. So here's how helping works. You can do whatever it is that you're doing, but to help, but you're only going to roll your discipline,
Okay.
and Nancy will get any successes that you get from that.
Cool.
The strength of your discipline pool will not matter for the purpose of it. I'd recommend you go ahead and roll that first. So what are you doing to help, first of all?
I'm still kind of tapping out and humming that tune.
Yeah.
It's still going.
All right. So you got your tune going, as to try to just sort of, again, to sort of lull them.
Nice.
You got one success. Okay. So you're going to have at least one success when you're doing this. And you are trying to slow the needles of the taxman. You're just trying... Are you trying to, like... How slow are you trying to make them?
I mean, I would love for them to not get anywhere near us.
Okay.
Um,
I think in order to slow them down to the point that you're absolutely sure they're not going to hit you, because he is very
Yeah.
good with this.
yeah.
I think I'm going to need you to roll for madness.
Here's a
Please.
question. What if I wanted to... I haven't tried this before. I don't know if it's something Nancy can do, but what if I wanted to rewind them?
6 madness.
What does that mean? Or what is it? How do you
6
get
madness
permanent
is-
madness in this?
Oh, if you check off 3 boxes, if you check off 3 responses, then you'll snap for a while and you'll get a permanent madness die.
What makes you check off boxes again?
If madness dominates, or if you fail. You haven't really failed much of anything tonight, but
Yeah.
if you fail at something, then I can say that you check off a madness box, a madness response, or an
Gotcha.
exhaustion. Or an exhaustion die.
Let's go for it. You know, we got one
All
more
right.
episode. It's fine.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure. One success on discipline. Whatever I have in exhaustion it's just 1. That's good though. I mean, it's not good, but I'll take it. And madness of 6. That's insane. 2 successes.
Not
So-
nearly as insane as the madness roll. All right. So you're reaching out to slow these needles down. As you are all, I presume you're all running for the exit. The needles slow down and stop, and then immediately pull back as they're rewinding, and start, and then very quickly start flowing backwards. The taxman raises an arm and they go thump, 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 thump into the side of his arm. He's like, "Now that was uncalled for." You hear a voice from his head.
More double birds.
There is a... as you're bolting for the archway, as these... as you see that the taxman and his these 2 pinheads are starting to come after you, you do also see across the street there are a couple more pinheads that are looking and seeing, but from around that corner, remember I said it comes up to there's a street coming this way. You see what looks like a kind of a big taxi cab. It sort of goes and comes around the corner and pulls in right in front of the gates. And the back of the cab opens. And so there's a door just open there.
Can we see the driver?
Yeah, the driver. You can't really see clearly, but there's sort of a cap that's being raised above it, and you hear a voice that says, and you sort of there's sort of, you think the driver is sort of rolling down the you see the driver kind of look up, and it's just it's you don't know him, but he sort of looks out and he says yeah, you folks need a lift.
Beggars can't be choosers. Let's go.
You all pile into the cab quickly. As you do, you pile in. As you're piling in, you see there is someone seated in the back. It's actually pretty big back here. There are a couple of. This is actually sort of like almost like part limo, part cab, but it looks like a cab. There are two men or two people here. One of them is wearing a suit, and the head looks like maybe a glass type enclosure with just static, television static in it. Next to him, leaning forward as you're entering, is H.R. Johnson. He says, "Hey, I'm glad we got here in time. Come on, let's get you out of here."
Hi.
Do you go with them?
I don't think we have a choice.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The door slams shut, and the cab takes off with the taxman in pursuit. And this is where we will end our episode for the evening. Well, thank you all very much. This has been a delightful episode. I'm going to let us go around and we shall do our outros. Let me turn off the sounds of the insane asylum. There we go. Okay. Outros, I've been again doing the order a little bit differently and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to go clockwise with the order, but today we will start with Alyssa. Feel free again to say any final thoughts about this episode and where folks can find you.
Well, I'm excited. We got to see a little more of our powers and stuff coming into play.
Hey.
I have, over the last week or two, actually been working on writing this tune.
Oh my God!
It's been stuck in Lila's head, so maybe we'll hear a little more of that. We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited, anxious to find out what happens with the broadcast.
Yes.
Next week. And in the meantime, you can find me on Twitter at Origami Shuriken. Just, hanging out.
Excellent. So glad we got to see your madness talent tonight. I'm so glad we got to see everyone's madness talents tonight. This was glorious. We saw Jamaro's last week, but this, it was very good. We got everyone else in. Also, hello Raiders. We're actually about to go. Unfortunately, as we're on our outros. But thank you very much for raiding. I really appreciate it. Just finishing up a session of Don't Rest Your Head, where Insomniacs are going and fighting nightmares in the Mad City. Let's move on to Anino.
Oh my God, caught me mid-yawn.
Sorry.
Hi, my name's Anino. You can find me on Anino Gaming at Twitter. Let's say what have I got going on. You can catch me on this channel every Saturday at 8 p.m. for The Edge of Paradox, Jim's Invisible Sun campaign, which is always a good time. We've got all sorts of things, like grilled cheese sandwiches and talking mountains and cats that walk on their 2 front paws only. So yeah, tune in for that. If you thought this was crazy, Invisible Sun's even more crazy. But other than that, the only thing I've got going on is Extra Life. I am participating in Extra Life this year. This is my final run with the charity, and just about $55 away from unlocking the last giveaway, which is a brand new Nintendo Switch. So if you're looking for some place to donate your money to, certainly head on over to that page. The chances of winning are actually pretty good because a lot of my friends and family were ones who donated and aren't really eligible for receiving a prize due to me being ethical about the way I conduct business. So I know that's kind of crazy in these times. So I don't know. Ethics.
Who's this ethics person? I don't know her.
We don't know her.
No. She's long gone. But anyway, so that's it for me.
Awesome. Lauren. Hey.
Hi. Hi. I don't like the tax man. He scares me. I don't like it. I don't like being in the car with Johnson and his partner. But you know, it'll all work out. We're gonna get out of here.
Wait, wasn't his partner Hitler?
Yep.
His partner is Ulrich Hitler. And I don't know. You haven't. We haven't identified who this other person in the cab is yet. So
I don't like it though. Anyway, I'm Lauren. I'm that salty ginger over on Twitter. You can catch me playing role-playing games. The next place I'll be is on Tales from the Grim on Friday, playing some Outbreak Undead at 12 Eastern. I play myself. I got really good scores, like relatively speaking, so I'm probably gonna die. That's all.
No. And finally, Rock.
So you can find me on Twitter as Rock007. Occasionally I show up on Jim's channel playing games with really awesome people like the folks that I'm playing with tonight. Other than that, it's just kind of drift in between games. So really enjoyed tonight.
Excellent. Excellent work with the banister, by the way. That made it so that people didn't have to worry about the staircase collapsing. That was very good. That was very good. All right. Well, let's see. As for me, me. I'm Jim. This is my channel. You can find me here at Otherdoc. I'm Otherdoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, and YouTube channel. As previously stated, this Saturday and every Saturday is our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. We are they did more of the plot. It was so exciting. They went into a house and the house turned into a spider. After they left, things inside turned into a spider first, and then they left, and then the house merrily walked away. It's a surreal game. On Sundays, we do one-shots. This Sunday, I am going to take a stab at running Trail of Cthulhu to finish up our theme of Halloween-themed one-shots for this month. So I've got only a few days to cram the entirety of the rules into my brain. So we'll see how this goes. As we're assembling the team now, and very much looking forward to it. And then of course we come back around to Tuesdays, where 1 week from today we will have our finale. The finale of Don't Rest Your Head. And I am excited to see where it goes. As they've got Alice, and now we need to see what else they'll have to do. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Sign-ups are open right now for our short campaign that we're doing next month, which is going to be Alas for the Awful Sea. That is a Powered by the Apocalypse game set in the 19th century, surrounding basically around the British Isles, and it has all to do with ships and the various folklore from the area, and corruption and desperation, and it is a very interesting, deep story, deep emotional type game, and I want to see if how that one does. So signups are still open for that. They'll be open until Wednesday, October 30th. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click on RPG sign up down below, or go to jimyesthatjim.com, click on game sign up, and you'll be able to get into that. As always, beginners are welcome. So when we go to the end card, I think I'm going to send a raid. I haven't raided... Who have I not raided in a while? I haven't raided... I'll go ahead and raid Lindy. We'll do that. To continue with the again the theme of various haunted things, she's doing her Ravenloft campaign. So we'll go over there. Feel free to accompany us if you so desire, and say hello to her with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, though, folks, take care, and I will see you next week. Farewell.